Hi everyone, it's Naden here again. Thanks very much for joining me on this episode. And today we're going to talk about a question actually, that I get asked very often. Many people email me and contact me and ask me the question, how long do I think will it take for them to save their marriage? And I also know from a number of people, a number of emails that I get, that although they don't ask me that question specifically, it's very much in their mind. So if you're feeling stressed and fearful for your marriage, it's probably something that you're asking yourself inside as well. How long is it going to take you to save your marriage? So I thought I'd spend a podcast episode really digging into this question, because a lot of the things that are behind this question are causing people a lot of stress, anxiety, tension, and it causes people to do the wrong things rather than the right things, and it actually pushes your marriage further away. So asking this question, I think, is very, very important. And today we're going to specifically look at three aspects of this question to help you understand it and hopefully answer it for yourself. And those are, we're going to look at why it's important to know how long, or at least to have an idea of how long it's going to take you to save your marriage if that's what you want to do. And secondly, how to have some idea, not only why it's important, but how do you actually know? Are there any clues that can give you an idea as to how long it might take you in your situation to save your marriage? Because of course everybody's in a different situation and everybody's relationship is at a different point. So it's very difficult to say a blanket number, but it is more helpful and more relevant to you to get an idea of how long it might take you to save your marriage. And the third thing we want to talk about, and this is probably the most important aspect, is what are some of the things that you can do to speed up the process? So if you have an idea of how long your marriage you think might take to save it, how long it will take to get your relationship back together, looking at some of the ideas I'm going to share with you, but how can you speed up the process? How can you make it happen much more quickly, much more easily, in a much more enjoyable, if you like, or certainly less stressful way? So that's what we're going to talk about. But just before we do, remember there's something very important to think about, and it's something that people very often forget, that is, it is going to take you time to save your marriage. It's not going to happen instantly. But more importantly, or just as importantly, you do have the time. Despite what you might think, I've yet to come across anybody in a marriage situation who had no time at all. Even if your spouse has left, even if they're involved with someone else, even if they're telling you, I'm leaving tomorrow, you do have time to deal with it. You don't have to solve it all within 24 hours. You do have the time, and I'll explain it a little bit as we go along. Because remember, it took time for your relationship to develop. You didn't just meet someone instantly and the next day you got married and everything was perfect. It took time for you to get to know each other, for your relationship to develop. That's obvious. But what's not so obvious, perhaps, particularly if you're feeling very, very stressed about your marriage falling apart, is that it also takes time for a marriage to unravel. And so you do have time. You do have time to pick up the pieces, if you like, and put them back together. Obviously, it's not going to happen immediately, but you do have time. All right, so let's look at the first of the three things we're going to talk about specifically, and that is, why is it so important to know how long it's going to take to save your marriage, or at least to have an idea of how long it might take? Well, it actually is very important. And the main reason why it's important is because if you have an idea of how long you think it's going to take, it's going to remove a lot of stress from you. You're not going to be in this so much a state of pain thinking, if I don't fix it today, if I don't fix it tomorrow, it's all over, that's it, finished, and my life will be terrible. You don't need to be under that stress. So this is particularly the case if your spouse has told you that they want to leave. But if you know that there's a process in terms of saving your marriage that does take time, and if you just find and apply the right process, you are going to be successful, then that's going to remove the stress, the pain, the pressure on you right now to try and do everything at once, fix it all at once, because people are impatient. We're all impatient by nature. If there's something that's causing us pain, we want to get rid of it as quickly as possible, don't we? And preferably, rather than as quickly as possible, we want to get rid of it instantly. We just want the pain to go away. And when we're in an unhappy marriage situation, and we can remember all of the wonderful times we used to share with our husband or our wife or our partner, and we can think to the future and think how good things could be, then we just want to get rid of all of the pain. We want to get back to the place where our relationship, our marriage, is wonderful, the way it has been and the way we know it can be again. So that's very understandable, but it's not realistic. It is going to take time. So if you have a rough idea that you think, this is going to take me 3 months or 6 months or a year or whatever, if you know that you need to allow some time, that's going to remove the pressure off you. You know you're going to be on track, and you know you're going to get there. And of course, one of the things that happens when you take the stress and the pressure off yourself is you actually speed things up. You increase the speed at which your marriage will get better, your relationship will get better, and you give yourself a greater chance of actually saving your marriage and being successful. The second reason why it's important is because when you know you've got time, when you know you don't have to do everything instantly, you know that you can create a plan. So your mind, your brain starts thinking, right, what's the plan here? What am I going to do step by step? I don't need to do it all at once. I have the time. I'm not feeling the stress. So, because I have a time frame, what do I need to do? What am I going to do step by step? If you know you have time, then you know that you can create a plan. That's really important. And the third thing why it's important to know, to have a rough idea of how long you think it's going to save your marriage, is because it increases your confidence and your determination and your optimism, knowing that you're going to get there. And these are all positive emotions. So that, and the thing is, they don't just make you feel better, but they make your situation better, and they attract to you a better situation. They speed up the process, as I said earlier, and you're going to have a greater chance of success, and you're probably going to get there more quickly. I've said in previous podcasts that whatever you focus on, you attract. And this is so much the key of my programs as well, if I can mention those, my Stop Your Divorce and my Save Your Marriage programs. They're very much about getting you into a more positive state so that you attract more positive emotion. And the positive emotion isn't just going to come from you, it's going to come from the people around you, including your husband or your wife. They're going to start feeling better about you and your situation if you're feeling better about you, because you become a nicer person to be around. And when you think about it, most people who are trying to save their marriage, they become very depressed, they become upset, they become stressed. And subconsciously, without them knowing it, what they're really doing is pushing their spouse further away. So even though it's really difficult, you've got to learn a way to develop these positive emotions. And that's what I'm doing in these podcasts, trying to help you with, and also in a much, much deeper way, in a much more strategic and definite way, through my programs as well. So obviously it's really important to know, to have an idea of how long it's going to take for you to save your marriage. So once you do know that it's important, the next thing to say is, all right, so how can you tell? How can I know? How can I have a rough idea of how long it's going to take? And as I said at the beginning, everyone's in a different situation. So I can't say to you it's going to take you a day, a week, a month, a year, because I don't know your specific situation. But you can apply some of these ideas that I'm about to share with you to your situation, and that will give you, I think, a much clearer picture as to how you can tell, realistically, if you like, how long it might take for you to save your marriage. Remember, it's not going to happen instantly. I think we've got past that. I hope you agree with me now on that one. It's not going to happen instantly. All right, so how long is it going to take? Well, here are some of the factors. Well, here are the main factors that are going to determine it's going to take